Hi guys, welcome back to Eye of the Beholder, where we review the Dungeons & Dragons miniatures created by WOTC and WizKids for the 20-year period between 2003 through 2023. For the holidays, I toyed with the idea of reviewing the elf miniatures this time around, but thought that would be just too cute by half. So instead, I've decided to keep it with my somewhat alphabetical order and start reviewing the giant miniatures. So in this series, we'll be heading beyond the wall and up the beanstalk, with side trips to ancient Greece, Shrek's Swamp, and Middle-earth. Astral giants were originally cloud or storm giants that metaphorically flew too high and left the prime material plane for the astral plane. They are powerful magic users but extremely reclusive, preferring to conduct their businesses through intermediaries that they have pacts with who will do their bidding in exchange for a touch of their power.
We get our only astral giant miniature in WotC's last set, 2010's Lords of Madness. Pretty big for a giant mini of its time, its lower body's translucence reveals its otherworldly status. Clad only in a blue tunic with some white wrappings on his forearms, he gazes sternly down on his foe with arched eyebrows. Spear is held point down but ready, and we get some pretty good detailing on his spear. Such a rare giant, game-wise, limits playability, but it is cool, so score is Paint 22, Pose 19, Playability 10, Pizzazz 23, for a score of 74.
Per their name, cloud giants prefer to make their homes in the clouds. Among the tallest of the giants, they average 24 feet tall, with milky white to sky blue skin. Bodies are generally quite well defined, muscular yet graceful. They are definitely live and let live types, easygoing and joyful, preferring art and music over battle and plunder. Don't underestimate their fighting ability, however. They are highly intelligent and strategic fighters, blending magic and melee when they attack.
Befitting their large size, WotC waited until 2004's Giants of Legend set, which was the first set to issue huge minis, to give us a cloud giant. Porcelain white skin and hair with bright blue eyes, he stands at the ready with a two-handed mace held front and center. Dressed in a blue tunic that is cut to reveal his muscular arms, with brown matching boots and bracers, and, for some reason, both a blue cloak and a blue-green cape. By the way, cool silver mustache, bro. Score: Paint 17, Pose 14, Playability 15, Pizzazz 18, for a score of 64. "12 years later, we get this pair of cloud giants in 2016's Storm King's Thunder set. Identical with the exception of weapon, the first armed with a nasty curved scimitar, while the second has a two-pronged spear. They're not exactly projecting the easygoing and joyful traits this race is known for. Barefoot and in loose-fitting tan tunics, they don't appear overly concerned about defense, with only bracers and shoulder armor to protect them. Neat touch having a metal collar protecting the neck and face, offsetting the blue eyes and hair. Me, I would use these as twin sentries at the gates of a cloud giant city. Score: Paint 20, Pose 23, Playability 18, Pizzazz 24, for a score of 85. Also from the Storm King's Thunder set, we get this named cloud giant, Countess Censari. Unlike other cloud giants, her skin is a tawny brown, barely discernible from the brown tunic and cloak draped on her body, with only the silver of her breastplate and greaves and the delicate facial jewelry for contrast. Translucent plastic at her feet gives her the appearance of floating, while the same translucent plastic on the fingertips of her raised hand, and especially wreathing her head and shoulders, indicate a spell effect of some type. Nice detailing note: even though her right arm is mostly covered by the cloak, you can still see the attention to detail of the golden bracelets that she wears on each arm. Nicely done, WizKids. Score: Paint 15, Pose 25, Playability 17, Pizzazz 25, for a score of 82. Seven more years go by before we get this Cloud Giant of Evil Air mini in 2023's Big Bees Presents Glory of the Giants. And what a dynamic mini it is. Cloud Giants can cast fly 3 times a day, and this guy has taken advantage of this, swooping down to attack his enemies via this clear stand. I absolutely love this pose, one leg raised at the knee as he prepares to throw, of all things, a boomerang at his target before pulling his sword from his belt as he closes for battle. Amazing sculpt and paint details across the board. Gold inlay on the sword handle and scabbard, the bracelet on the wrist, the cape fashioned out of feathers on his back, and great facial detailing as well. How could this not be a score of 100?
For many of us, we were first introduced to the Cyclops in Homer's mythic adventure, The Odyssey. Perhaps the smallest of the giants, standing at only 12 feet tall, the most obvious feature is the single eye set in the middle of the face. In D&D terms, while small in comparison to other giants, they are among the strongest, able to launch boulders at their foes from great distances which, unfortunately, due to their poor depth perception, don't often hit. Fun fact, Cyclops are known to be excellent blacksmiths.
WOTC gives us our first Cyclops in 2007's Desert of Desolation set. Sized like most WOTC giants, he is armed with a large spear that he holds enthusiastically over his head, perhaps celebrating a killing blow. Clad in a plate mail breastplate and matching bracers, note the attention to details of the buckles and clasps on the back of his armor. Finally, the single red eye over a grinning mouth full of teeth is pretty cool as well. Score: Paint 16, Pose 17, Playability 15, Pizzazz 15, for a score of 63. A year later, we get another Cyclops in 2008's Demon Web set, called a Cyclops Hewer, no doubt due to the large golden axe in his right hand. He goes with full leather armor rather than the plate mail of the previous mini. He does augment his armor with a pretty nicely detailed shield, along with some metal kneecaps. Skin is a grayish tone, with some nice pebbling detailing on the back and nape of the neck. Finally, the facial details mimics the last guy, but are much better defined. The eye has a black pupil and yellow sclera, and the fangs are better as well. Score: Paint 18, Pose 20, Playability 18, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 76. WOTC goes 3 and 3 years with this Cyclops Crusher mini from 2009's Monster Manual Dangerous Delve set. Crusher indeed, as he wields a huge, two-handed studded mace raised high as he's about to bring it down on the head of an unfortunate soul. I like how WOTC varied the armor among these three. The guy is clad in scale armor with added metal pieces protecting the shoulders and left thigh. Same yellow-black eyes as before, though, or eye. Score: Paint 17, Pose 22, Playability 18, Pizzazz 22, for a score of 79. WOTC gives us their first Cyclops in 2018's Monster Menagerie 3. Well, actually, 2. One armed with a club and the second with a crude stone hammer. Far bigger than less armor than their WOTC counterparts. Here's a quick view of the first WOTC Cyclops between the two for comparison. These guys only need a loincloth and boots while striding into battle. All that bare skin gives us an excellent look at their musculature, and based on their expression, they are really enjoying pounding the piss out of something. Score: Paint 14, Pose 19, Playability 19, Pizzazz 17, for a score of 69. Our final Cyclops miniature comes from, fittingly, 2020's Grecian-influenced Mythic Odysseys of Theros set. This mini is giving off serious dad bod vibes with a slightly flabby belly and man boobs right up to a receding hairline. Probably shouldn't have made fun of it though, as he is in an ugly mood. Great use of a clear stabilizing stand to allow for the pose, 1 foot raised high as he prepares to stomp his foes into the dust. With just a small loincloth covering his gray body, this is the most Homer-esque of our Cyclopean options. Score: Paint 14, Pose 20, Playability 17, Pizzazz 17, for a score of 68.
And that's it for now. As I did with my dragon videos a while back, I'm going to go with several shorter videos where we're reviewing the many giant and giantkin miniatures. We'll pick back up next time with D through E, which includes the Death and Eldritch giants, along with the Etten. So, goodbye for now. Thanks for watching Eye of the Beholder, and hey, here's a crazy thought. Leave a comment or even like or subscribe.